Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Yeah, I'm coming back. They took it all away, but I'm coming back with another episode. But thank you. My name is Daniel. I'm your host, your guy in the chair.
Guy in the chair.
And today, a very special thing, we gotta go over Netflix's season 5 of Stranger Things. So, our predictions, and we'll hear what Micheal Jae has to say. So, enjoy.
A little bit of time now for season 4 to completely settle in because, let's be honest, it was a lot. Emotionally, mentally, and physically, it was a lot on every level. But honestly, I was pretty impressed with how much heartfelt moments they included in this season compared to all the tear-jerking moments, and especially for this season ending on a loss, with Max gone as well as Eddie, and a giant gaping hole in the middle of Hawkins. I was impressed with how many moments there were that still made me smile. But the one thing that didn't make me smile is how underutilized Will was yet again this season. I don't even remember what he did last in season 3. We established he was a wizard and everybody left him in the dust for their girlfriends. He's been sidelined for 2 seasons now, and with the Duffer brothers announcing that they want to return to their season 1 roots with season 5, it looks like it is finally going to be Will's time to shine.
Please, yes.
Personally, I feel like he was literally the center of the plot for season 1 and 2, and then they completely forgot about him in season 3 and 4. I mean, he's literally just in the background following around all the other characters as they continue to go on with the story.
Not fair.
I'm so excited that they also mentioned Will is going to have a big role in season 5. With this being the most important season as it tries to conclude the 5-season-long show, it is going to take a lot to answer all of our questions and tie up all their loose ends, and I couldn't be happier that they're finally bringing Will off the bench. I love him as a character. I can't believe he's done nothing for 2 seasons now. Other than Elle, he's the only other one in the group that has powers, or his connection to the Upside Down in Vecna. He can literally sense their presence and is able to feel what Vecna is feeling. At the end, he knows he's alive. He's hurt, but he's still alive. He knows what he's thinking still, and they just shoo him to the side like he's supposed to be a bench warmer. But not anymore, baby. It is time for season 5, the season of Will.
Yes, I think it worked. Yes.
If you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm Micheal Jae, and today we're going to be talking about what they're going to do with Will in season 5. There's a lot of potential with his character and still having that connection to Vecna, and there's some really cool stuff they could do with him and his true sight powers, the ability to see into the ethereal plane, or in Will's case, into the Upside Down. And surprisingly enough, only like 12% of people watching right now are actually subscribed. Shout out to the 12%, you guys are the best, but if you're part of the 90% that's unsubscribed, what are you even doing? Go down and punch that subscribe button in the kneecaps. It doesn't cost anything and it's totally free, and it really helps me out. We're trying to hit 500k by the end of the year, and you can help us get there. For all the people that are subscribed, I'm leaving a plate of fresh warm cookies for you in the comments. Go get them while they're hot because we have a lot of stuff to talk about. Now, before we dive into the juicy bit, let's recap on where we're at with Will right now. Season 1, Vecna opens a portal and takes Will to the Upside Down. After hiding and running for a week and figuring out how to communicate with his mom through electricity, the telephone, and the Christmas lights, and one time coming out of the wall, he was finally found, barely alive, by Joyce and Hopper. He was actually trapped on the wall, being restrained by vines with a tube attached to his mouth. They were able to rescue him and bring him back to the real world, only for a few days later to cough up a parasite that had returned with him. In season 2, Will returns, and we eventually learn that the slug he coughed up grows up to be a demogorgon. Apparently, the vines attached to him in the Upside Down laid eggs inside of him and were using him as a host. Thankfully, when they hatched, they didn't kill Will, but it did leave him with some new properties. Ever since the slug came out of Will, he started having visions, almost flashbacks to the Upside Down and the time he spent there. But soon, we learned that these aren't just flashbacks. He is actually able to see in both dimensions, the real world as well as the Upside Down. Will has this involuntarily happen to him multiple times, each with the Mind Flayer getting closer and closer to him, trying to come after him like it wants something from him. And then, for his last episode, he catches Dart in the bathroom and everything goes wrong. Thanks to that little speech that Bob gave him about not running from his clown in the nightmare, Will stops dead in his tracks and basically just lets the Mind Flayer have him. It ends up consuming Will, it goes into him, it possesses him. Once inside, Will was able to feel what the Mind Flayer, or Vecna, was feeling and his intentions. Will could literally feel its presence inside of him. Not only that, but he was also able to see and know whatever Vecna did since they were now connected. Will called these visions now memories and was able to map out all all the tunnels he was using to traverse through Hawkins in the Upside Down. This came in hand shortly after. Hop left Will and Joyce to go look around in the pumpkin fields and found this way into the Upside Down and was quickly immobilized and tied down. Will was able to draw Hopper's location, and thanks to Bob for saving the day, they were able to read the map and rescue Hopper. But unfortunately, the longer the Mind Flayer remained in Will, the worse he became. He started experiencing memory loss as Vecna began to take over more of his physical body. And after doing a few tests, they quickly realized that Will was connected to Vecna's hive mind. Whatever his tendrils or his demogorgons feel, Will can also feel. And then they used Will to set up a trap for the soldiers and kill them all, and started using Will to spy on Mike, Joyce, and Hopper, and Owens until his mother sedated him. When he awoke, they had no idea where they had taken him, but they started trying to push the presence out of Will and bring him back and find Vecna's weakness. Will somehow managed to gain control over his fingers and use Morse code to tell Hopper to close the gate, which would sever Vecna's connection to him. They end up using heat to push the Mind Flayer and Vecna completely out of him, and El finally closes the portal. 1 year later, after everything is somewhat back to normal, the Russians open a portal to the Upside Down underneath the mall where Will is watching a movie. He immediately feels the presence once again. He has his first neck tingle of a very long line of neck tingles, something I didn't expect I would ever say. Season 3 is basically just Will being forgotten and unappreciated, with an occasional alert to the Mind Flayer's return, and with the new portal being opened and all. This time he was able to feel that not only the Mind Flayer returned, but he had also attached himself to a new host, Billy. Later on, when the kids were following up on a lead that Mrs. Driscoll could be taken over by the Mind Flayer as well, Will's neck began to tingle, and he alerted everyone that Nancy and Jonathan were in danger. He went on to fight the Mind Flayer with the party at the mall, but after that, he moved to California and had no issues with feeling Vecna. It wasn't until they returned to Hawkins at the end of season 4 that he was able to feel him again. Not only that, but with the portal opened, he was able to feel his thoughts and his intentions as well. Now, I think there's two ways that they could really go about this in season 5. The most obvious one is Will becomes a host for Vecna.
Oh, you're being serious.
I know it sounds insane.
Literally since season 1, Vecna has been coming after Will in hopes of using his body as a host, but why? We don't really know for sure, but there's a good chance that after El banished him to the Upside Down, he wasn't too thrilled, and all the lightning and weathering his body was exposed to there made him weak and in need of a new physical body to one day inhabit. Or, honestly, he could have just been looking for a host to keep in the real world, to use it to manipulate and spy on people, to use it to look for 11. Because it seems like Vecna's goal since becoming banished is to get revenge on 11. He wants her to join him, or he's going to kill her. Maybe he has a way to take her power, or maybe he's going to try to manipulate her by threatening to kill her friends so she does what he wants. But I think with Will's connection to Vecna still being active, unfortunately, there's a decent chance he could still get possessed again. The only problem is that they've already done this before in season 2. I don't know how thrilled everyone would be to see Will get possessed for a second season now. I mean, with it being season 5, the stakes will be a lot higher. If Vecna was to completely take over Will and use him to fight against the kids, that would be pretty tear-jerking. I mean, Will is the perfect target for Vecna. Ever since season 1, we've known that Will was always kind of an outcast too. He was treated different. He didn't fit in with the world and was said to be a sensitive child, just like Henry Creel. I mean, they literally give us those shots of Henry coloring the Mind Flayer just like Will did. I mean, they can't just throw that in there and not expect us to think anything of it. Everything with them is so deliberate. And I've heard theories of Vecna targeting Will and his unstable emotions, because we know that Vecna uses self-doubt and misplaced guilt to attack his targets. And with Will being his #1 target from the start, it's not too far out there to see Vecna targeting Will's hidden feelings and using them against him. Jonathan could be the last voice of light and reason in his life, and Vecna could do something to kill Jonathan off and make it feel like it's Mike's fault, really letting Will fall hard to the dark side, letting Vecna in and working with him. If Elle had to fight Henry and Will at the same time, that would be mental. Way too heartbreaking, and I don't know if I could ever sleep again.
My heart can't take it anymore. I just can't take it.
But honestly, I don't think that's going to happen. That would go against everything Will is and stands for. I mean, everyone has a breaking point, yeah, but Will has been the same person for the last 4 years. It would be too far out of his character to turn on his friends and side with Vecna. I feel like that would make people hate the last season of Stranger Things. But That being said, I don't think that excuses him from becoming a host for Vecna again. If Vecna needs a host since his body is now in worse shape than ever, this would be the time he would try to possess Will now that he's back in Hawkins and in range. I think Will is connected to the Upside Down more than we think, and I'm just really hoping that Elle won't have to fight Vecna through a possessed Will at one point. That would be way too emotional. I barely made it through Max's death. I don't need the kids fighting each other, and I definitely think that we are going to explore Vecna's connection to Will much more this next season. Even from the beginning, Will has been referred to as a wizard, just like Vecna. And I think if we go back and look at this kidnapping again, it feels like Vecna personally kidnapped Will from the start. The clock chime, the light flickers, the deadbolt unlocking by itself. As far as we know, Demogorgons don't have telekinesis. But do you know who does? The Grinch. I mean Vecna. The only thing is the host storyline has already been done before, but I mean poetry. The season's rhyming, it starts with Vecna trying to possess Will. It could easily end with Vecna successfully possessing Will. I think with the stakes being much higher this season, I wouldn't be mad if they did it again. It wouldn't be the same as the first time, hopefully, and it would feel different. Honestly, the first trip that Will ever had, Mike was the one that pulled him out of it.
You okay?
Same with when the bullies got him on Halloween and sent him into his next hallucination. Mike saved him from that too.
Will, what's wrong?
If Will does get possessed by Vecna, I feel like it's only right if Mike is the one to pull him out of it. He uses his heart of the group to save Will in the end. I think that would be very full circle and just feel like a complete storyline. Now, if they choose to not have Will become possessed by Vecna all season, I still think he could play a very large role in season 5, and here's why. Will is the perfect secret weapon to fight Vecna with. We don't know the extent of their connection still, but we did hear at the end of season 4 when he returned to Hawkins, he was still able to feel Vecna's presence. He was able to see his thoughts and intentions, and honestly, that's enough for me to let him help the kids fight Vecna. On top of that, he still has his neck tingle to alert them if danger is close. I feel like he just needs the spotlight and to hang out with Elle a little more on the front line. If she utilized him properly, he could make her fight so much easier. They could have used him in season 4, but someone sent him to California, which, I mean, honestly, it was probably for the better, but like, where were you? I do like the idea of Will being similar to Vecna, being an outcast, a sensitive child that feels different from the world, yet still takes the high ground. Will would become the true example of you having a choice over your actions, and just because the world is cruel to you, you don't let it corrupt you and turn you evil. Will has not once reacted with hatred to anything done to him like Vecna has. Will has always been kind, gentle, and caring. He never gave up on the people that loved him most, even though the world has been pretty cruel to him. It would be really cool to see his neck tingle develop into a little more powers to help him fight Vecna with. I'm also curious if when Max comes back, she'll have powers too, because Will got powers after Vecna went inside of him and tried to take his soul, so what's stopping Max from getting powers too? If anything, I feel like there's a better chance that she'll get powers than she won't get powers. I would love to see them use Will to spy on Vecna just like he did to them in season 2. Maybe if the connection is still strong enough, now that he's back in Hawkins, Will can learn to mind travel inside of Vecna to help find Max. But even just knowing the enemy's motives and feelings is a huge advantage in defeating Vecna. I want Will to get his revenge on him for all the pain he's caused everyone and for all the lives he's taken. He deserves it. I don't know how they could pull it off, but I do trust them that they could pull it off. But it would be really cool to see Will be the one to defeat Vecna. And while I do think it's a job for Elle, she had her chance multiple times. Give us Will the Wise versus the Dark Wizard. Now that's what we want. And unfortunately, like always, there is good with the bad. With Will playing a larger role in season 5, just the same, he becomes more of a target for the Duffer brothers to kill off.
Why are we even talking about this? Seriously.
If this truly is the season of Will and he has an emotional arc that this character has deserved for a long time, there's a huge chance that in the end he will sacrifice himself to kill Vecna and save his friends. He shouldn't be the one to make the ultimate sacrifice, but he just might.
Ouch.
At the drop of a hat, Will would every time put the lives of the people he loves over his own. I just hope that if this is what the Duffer brothers think they need to do, I hope they do it right and do it emotional justice. It would really suck if they think up some twisted scenario where Mike has to choose one person to save between Elle and Will. I feel like it would be Elle, of course, and that would just make us even more sad for Will. I am trusting the Duffer brothers with my sanity that they will have mercy and end this final season off on a good note, even though they said it will not satisfy everyone. So, fingers crossed, don't know what that means. What do you think Will's fate will be in season 5? Tell me in the comments. I'm going to have another video out soon, but until then, I will see you in the Discord.
Hey guys, I hope y'all like that quick prediction thing. update or whatever on season 5. I can't wait for it. I'm ready for it. I'm hyped up. We all should be hyped up. I mean, get into it. Get with it. If you haven't watched it, rewatch all the episodes. They're on Netflix. And past seasons, watch them. But if you liked it, don't forget, get one of them. Comment down below and then subscribe.